going to be sharing with you in this video how to stay congruent to who you say you're going to be, because this is actually, believe it or not, a lot more critical than you might think when it comes to the manifestation process. And a lot of people say they're going to be a certain way, but then when it comes to actually being that way and embodying that in their daily life, there's not a congruency there. And that lack of congruency can show up in a lot of ways. It can show up in your business, it can show up in your manifestations, it can even show up in your well-being, because in those areas that you know that you're lying to yourself, that you know you can be doing a lot better, you're going to be kind of thinking about that, and that's going to be draining your life force energy. And so in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you how to stay congruent with who you say you're going to be, and of course, how this is going to aid in the manifestation process so that you can manifest what you want in the most effortless and easeful way possible. So if you're new to this channel, what I want you to do is I want you to hit that subscribe button. I want you to hit that notification bell, because I do post a new video every single day. Also, if you want to join my brand new coaching program that I just launched, hit the link that's in the description box of this video to apply for that coaching program to see if you're a good fit. If you do want to be part of it, be sure to join as soon as possible, because there are limited spots available. Now, the first thing that I want to share with you in terms of how to stay congruent with who you say you are is to, number one, commit to only what you know you're going to commit to. What is even congruency before we go into this? Congruency, simply put, is you say you're going to be a certain way and then you just follow through with that. And if you can develop that kind of mentality to become what you say you're going to become, you just aced life. Okay, you figured out life. Most people can't execute what they say they're going to do, and then so they never get the result because they don't trust themselves. See, how are you gonna manifest what you want if you don't trust yourself to execute on what you say you're gonna execute? Because if you can't trust yourself, who's gonna trust you, right? If you don't trust yourself to execute on what you say you're gonna execute, people are gonna feel that incongruency in your system, and that's not gonna help you to manifest what you want. Now, the first solution to this is to commit to only what you know you're actually going to follow through with, because most people create sort of all these goals that are just way too high to something which is way too unrealistic. It's something that they know they're not going to be able to commit to, and then so once they commit to that, they don't follow through, and then that sort of that momentum breaks and they don't trust themselves. But see, let's just say you wanted to be a YouTuber like me, recording these videos, and let's say that daily videos are too much for you. So don't commit to daily videos. If let's just say YouTube is the example, what you would want to do is you would want to commit to maybe once a week. It's like, okay, Francis, you know what? Let's just be honest, Francis, I'm not going to commit to daily videos. Okay, that's totally fine. Well, then what do you feel you're going to commit to? You know what, Francis, I can do weekly videos. Boom. Well, then just commit to that, and then that way you're actually going to follow through, and then weekly videos consistently where you actually follow through and trust yourself, versus daily videos maybe for a week or two and then your ego falls back into the old pattern. That is going to be way more beneficial. Way more beneficial. That's going to help you to build congruency. That's going to help you to build trust. That's going to help you to build self-trust. That's going to help you to internally align your energy system in a way that builds trust. Not to mention that at a practical level, that is going to be way more beneficially supportive to helping you get a result in comparison to, just committing to something and then never following through. Because never following through with what you say you're going to commit to, that does something to your system, that does something to the energy system, that actually drains life force from the system, because you're not able to be at full capacity, because every time you say you're going to do it and then you do the opposite habit, you have like a contradicting frequency. You have a contradicting sort of vessel where you say you want to go in this direction, you go in the other direction. That's going to cause a disharmony in the system. That's going to cause disharmony. So the first solution is to commit to only what it is that you know you are going to be committed to. Now, number two, what I want to share with you is that long-term momentum is the key here. Now, I hate to say this because a lot of people do want quick results. Now, I'm not saying that once you embody this energy that you can't get a quick result. But the truth is that most people want quick results, and they 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 do that for a year, and then what do they get accomplished in that whole year? Nothing. Nothing gets accomplished, because when you keep trying to get the fast result for a year, you just compound not getting what you want, and then it leaves you nowhere. Whereas if you just thought about it long term and did just that little bit of, whatever it is that you feel you could do for a year from now is going to be a year from now either way, but at least you can be that much closer to your dreams because you committed to something that you know you're going to be able to commit to. So in my personal opinion, if you know you're not going to be able to commit to something, then just don't make that commitment and then just do whatever it is that you're going to do anyways. Just be honest, at least be honest and say, you know what? I'm not going to own that commitment. I'm going to do this commitment, or I'm not going to do either of those because none of those I'm going to commit to. If you're honest with yourself in that sense, what's going to happen is that's already going to give you bring you one step closer to truly being congruent, because at least now you're being honest. It's like, no, I'm not going to commit to any of this. Okay, well then that's probably the most congruent thing that a lot of people will say in their life, is to just be honest about certain things that they're not going to be committed to, and to be honest about the things that they can be committed to and to fully own that. Now, long-term consistency is the perspective that you want to have. This is what a lot of people don't want to hear. Of course, you want to hear video in terms of how to manifest quickly, but if we're talking about congruency is about long-term thinking. It's about who you're becoming. It's not about the one result. It's not about the one manifestation that you'll get like tomorrow. Congruency is about who you're becoming over a period of time. What are you cultivating? What are you cultivating in your life? What are you building in your life? That's congruency. That's like, if you see that person, a year ago they were doing something, yeah, they're still doing that same thing a year later. They're congruent. They are not that you can't always change, but it's like if you have a certain momentum rolling, it's like, that person is going to keep doing that. They're going to keep that there's nobody in the outside world is going to be concerned about that person and if they're not going to follow through. See, when somebody trusts themselves to follow through, typically that person's very trustworthy. Why are that person trustworthy? Because people on the outside can feel like, this person trusts themselves, so I trust them too. Of course you trust them because they trust themselves. And if you don't trust yourself, you're just gonna sort of be in this position where you're not gonna be able to truly manifest what you actually want. So long-term consistency is the key. Long-term vision, long-term focus. This is the real growth. This is what actually helps you to build your life in a way that is sustainable and allows you to become who you prefer to be. Now, I'm not saying that things can't happen quickly, but what's funny is that typically the people that do get the overnight success are the ones that let go of trying to get it in 2 minutes and 1 hour. They just focus on the long term, and then typically things start to happen a lot quicker. So you just want to have that long-term consistency. That's going to be really beneficial for you in terms of how to be congruent to the truth of who you really are. Now, number 3, what I want to share with you is if you fail to follow through with something, the last tip that I have for you is to be honest and own fully that you were not congruent with that thing. So maybe you were about to show up for a call and you missed that call and you missed that. You totally messed up your schedule. I've been there. I messed up my schedule and I didn't show up to a call before. Okay. So what I do is I say, you know what? I apologize 100%. I didn't mean to screw that up. My apologies. That's not normally like me. Fully own your mistakes if you don't follow through, because now at least you're not sort of lying to yourself and rationalizing why what you're doing is a good thing when you know that it's not a good thing. And I'm not talking about absolutely, everything is good absolutely. I'm talking relatively, that certain things are not serving you, that if you just do the basic logical things and you start to become like a robot, your life would be a lot better. But we rationalize why, using our emotions and our feelings, why we should do certain things, and it doesn't get us anywhere. And then we lie to ourselves in terms of why we didn't follow through. Now, don't do that. If you don't follow through with something that you said you were gonna follow through with, see, I'm not saying that if you never even made a commitment, then you're pretty much, you're ignorant at that point. If you're ignorant and you've never made a commitment, and you don't follow through with something that you kind of know in the back of your mind is going to be beneficial for you, that's not so bad really, because there's an unconsciousness there. There's a lack of commitment. But if you're conscious about who you prefer to be, and then you're still not following through, now what you want to do is just be honest and look at that. So if you said you were going to do something and you didn't follow through, be honest and own that fully. I'm not even saying that it's an issue. Maybe there is a time and place where you genuinely need to break a certain commitment and not continue with that thing. Could it be rationalization? Maybe. Whether it's a rationalization or not, that's not my concern. My concern is it doesn't matter what the reason is, whether it's valid or invalid. It's always going to be valid from your perspective, no matter what it is. And if you do it, then there's no judgment from me or from, I would encourage you not to judge yourself either. But what I will say though, is just be honest about the truth of the situation in terms of if you're not being congruent, then at least just be honest about that, because that's going to teach you a lesson and that's going to help you to be more congruent next time. So you always want to be honest with yourself in terms of, are you being congruent with who you say you're going to be? And if you're not, then at least just own that fully. That's my last tip, is own it fully. Fully just say, you know what? I'm not owning this commitment today. I fully face the consequences for that. And if you just screw up, well, then own up to it and then fix it, or don't fix it and own that too. Because consciousness, what it wants to do is just to experience everything fully. And if you experience it fully, it'll be, ironically, the fastest way to help you to actually be congruent, versus if you tell yourself a story in terms of that's just like not the truth of the situation. You don't want to always be lying to yourself. Just be honest about the situation. Just be honest about it. And if you do that, you're going to have a much better time eventually being congruent in comparison to if you lied to yourself. Now with that, I conclude this video. Sincerely hope that some of these points gave you some value. If they did, leave a comment down below sharing your experiences in terms of how this benefited you. If you want to join my free, if you want to try my free guided meditation, then hit the link that's in the description box of this video to apply for a free to try that free guided meditation. And it's also going to be in the comments of this video as well. Also, if you want to join my brand new coaching program that I just launched, that's specifically designed to help you let go of the old self and ground into the new identity that you prefer to be in, then it's also going to be in the description box and also in the comments of this video as well. Now, as always, enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video.